Alright, so if you've been following along so far, we added some constraints to our login page here. So now, no matter what size the frame here is, if I change it around, it will go ahead and constrain all the elements inside to the sides and the top and the bottom. So that will help us create some really responsive design. And then I gave you an exercise to go ahead and do that for the other pages here. So we're going to do that together here as well. First, I want to start with my tutorial steps, but I'm going to actually go ahead and replace that group that we inserted in the background here and actually use an image instead, because that's a lot easier to control with constraints for the purpose that we're using it here in our mockups. So let's go ahead and select the login page here and then go all the way down to export. Let's go ahead and add an export here and just choose PNG for your file type, and then go ahead and export login. It will ask you where you want to save it. So I'm just going to save it in my downloads. So once I've done that there, I'm going to go ahead and just drag it from my downloads folder right into this tutorial page. Then go ahead and just center it along. And then let's go ahead and add a constraint of left and right and top and bottom. This way it will keep this image attached to all edges no matter how we resize it. Of course, we want to go ahead and just move this all the way to the bottom where we have our rectangle right below it. And then we don't need this group 1 here anymore, so let's delete it. And once you do that, I'm going to go ahead and apply the same constraint to the rectangle, which we're using for our effect here, right? The blur. So let's go ahead and just apply the constraint of top, left, and right, and also top and bottom. And then we can go ahead and just group these two together and go ahead and just lock it just to make things easier. So now if I resize this page or this frame over here, you'll see it will go ahead and keep the image for the background in the proper place, but the tutorial card here isn't constrained properly. So let's select the instance of the tutorial card here and then add a constraint of center. So now if I do the same thing here, it will go ahead and maintain the size here. I'm just going to select iPhone 11 Pro again. So now that works, I'm going to quickly apply the same constraints here to the other 2 tutorial pages. So let's go ahead and select this group, copy it, come here to my tutorial 2, paste that in, bring it down here, delete the other 2. The beauty of it is that when you copy something, the constraints will be copied with it as well, so we don't need to redo that part. Let's copy again. Tutorial 3, do the same thing. Move it down here, delete the other 2. And then all we need to do is again go to the instance here, choose center. So by using center, we'll just maintain the size of this card. So we won't resize it based on the device size. We will just center it according to the screen that we're working with here. Same thing here. So now these pages are all done. And last but not least, let's move on to our payment page here. So this is going to be super simple. For this one, let's go ahead and do center and top. For the card here, we don't want it to resize, so let's choose center and center for this as well. Similar to our tutorial card. And then for the button here, we want to let's do left and right and center. Now, if I resize this frame to, let's say, an iPhone 11 Pro Max here, I think that looks good. So there you have it. That's our constraints. And now we've applied it to all the pages we've designed so far. Now, to keep this course concise and to the point, I won't be adding any constraints to each individual page, but at the end, I will include a file that you can download for the final mockup UI, which will include all the constraints applied. So as an exercise, you can definitely apply constraints throughout the whole UI and then go back to that file at the end just to make sure that you've done it properly.